on the horizon. It's been said that those that have the eyes to see and the ears to hear will play a paramount role in the furthering of humanity and civilized society. But can civilized society and humanity survive the coming conflicts not seen since a dawn of time in ages bypast? But you can find true forms of information and knowledge in abundance at revolution.radio, freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the globe. Stand upon the right side of history. Revolution.
And welcome to Thursday Morning Coffee Rants with Dan. I am Dan, the Spiritual Anarchist. Today is Thursday, September 25th, in the year of all of us, 2025. And I am going to warn everybody, I'm in a very ranty mood this morning. I want to remind people that this isn't evening champagne with Dan. This is morning coffee rants with Dan. So yesterday I was interviewed by Chris Jansen, actually the day before yesterday, of the End of Evil podcast. And we talked about self-protection and self-defense in general. And he's got a really good podcast. Tonight he's going to be airing it, and there's going to be, I might be on there live in the live chat as that interview airs. It was about an hour and 20 minutes long. And we talked about self-protection, self-defense, and things that you can do to start preparing in case you ever are put in a situation where you have to defend yourself. And I think we certainly live in an age nowadays where that's definitely the case. February 21st and 22nd, I will be doing a 1-hour presentation titled The Hammer and the Flame, which is it's going to be at the Funnel 5 conference, which is Freedom Under Natural Law. Not under man's law, under natural law, God's law, on how to ignite your own flame to speak out against the ridiculousness that we're dealing with currently. So, where do I even begin? I got so much stuff that I want to talk about. Let's start off with the Charlie Kirk assassination. And people are probably really sick of hearing about this and politics and everything else. I'm not going to talk about politics much longer. Honestly, politics is for lunatics and all ticks are parasites. I'm not going to point out the obvious contradictions that everyone tries to point out to gain the upper hand because their side's the right side. Their side isn't the right side. No human being has a right to rule another human being. I don't know how hard that is for people to understand. So, when presented with new information, since I'm not egoically attached to my original hypothesis on his assassination, I thought it was a complete hoax. He's out on an island someplace sipping margaritas. That's still not off the table. However, with new video that I've seen, it may not be the case. Okay, so my first thoughts when it first originally happened, it's supposed to be a shooter from the front with a 30-06. A 30-06 will drop a moose at 200 yards. There was no obvious exit wound in that video shown of him. It took nearly a half a second before he was even moving a quarter of the way to the ground before any blood even appeared, where a 30-06 would have blasted him out of that chair by the end of by the beginning of the second frame, actually. It's a very powerful round. But I've seen video that a Marine made and pointed out from a position that was probably only 60 or 70 yards away, elevated position, that showed pretty plainly him getting hit in the back of the head with a little bit of blood that came out. You can see his hair mess up, but you can see a little bit of blood. I've seen it in the original video that I went back and looked at. I'm like, okay, there it is. I was able to spot it. So my hypothesis is he did indeed get assassinated. The way his body reacted if he had been shot from the front wasn't natural. It didn't seem right, especially from a 30-06. The doctor claiming he did a miracle and stopped the 30-06 round from hitting anyone else because they found the 30-06 bullet. Yeah, with his new video shows the shadow of another shooter with a scoped rifle. It was a smaller round. It was probably a 5.56. Where the round hit him on the side at a downward angle near the back of the head and came out the neck, the way he reacted in that, the way he seized up, that's indicative of a shot to the head. With a high traveling round, smaller bullet that's not going to have the same knockdown power as the 30-06. Now, where he got hit on the side is how you do a side shot of a no reflex kill, which is the medulla oblongata. People have probably heard about that in video games, but it's a real thing. It's a no reflex kill. And that's kind of how he seized up, and that's kind of what happened. Now, from the angle that the shooting took place at, there's no way the guy could actually see him with the pop tent. So the scoped weapon, more likely than not, had a thermal imaging technology in the scope, is my guess. So my guess is this. The second video that I've seen is true, and there's a second shooter possibly, but does that even fucking matter at this point? Okay? Here's what you can know for sure. It's government planned. That's what you can know for sure. Okay? They create all these different obvious arguing points, disagreement points, points of contention, and contradictory things in every event that happens to get the people arguing over those things. To get the people arguing over the low-hanging fruit. To not pay attention to what they're really doing on this Soul Garden prison planet. Let me take a sip of my coffee. As Charlie, God rest his soul, would say, they want you arguing over the leaves of the tree and never get to the root of the problem, or the roots. Okay? To my voters out there, half of whom are okay with babies being blown up and beheaded, and the other half of whom think being attracted to a minor is an actual, like, good thing, and it's okay to fuck kids. You shouldn't do either. Children are targeted for a reason, because of their energy, by very evil forces on this planet that I don't believe are human, to be honest with you, because humans are too lazy. Even the power-hungry, egotistical, sociopathic psycho-humans are too lazy for this. I got news for everybody. This isn't a distraction with him to distract you away from the Epstein files, which is another fucking psyop. I'm not saying those files don't exist, but let's use some common sense. I once had a trainer tell me, I don't believe in common sense, because if it was common, more people would have it. Those logs exist for one reason and one reason only, because somebody in government wants them to exist. They've got black book skunk works projects that none of us know about and will never know about unless they want us to. So the fact that that's even known is a distraction in itself. But being distracted by egos, quit being distracted with not able to change your mind. I had to change my mind. I thought the whole shooting with Charlie Kirk was a hoax. A complete hoax. And I'm still not 100% sure it wasn't. But with the new video I've seen, I have to acknowledge, it definitely could have been the second shooter with the thermal scope, in which case it is government planned. Here's what I know. It's government planned to begin with. Okay? Oh, there's a bird outside singing now. All right, I'll calm down. Sometimes being a spiritual person, they expect you to, float around and not pay attention to anything negative. And I think being a spiritual person, you've gone through your own darkness. You're familiar with your own problems. You've worked on them. And you will call a spade, and you will speak up and call bullshit on bullshit. See, they let you know about that list to keep you fighting about that, and then all this other stuff's to hide the list. Sure it is. Okay, sure it is. They've got that list because they want it out there so you have something to be distracted by, so they can distract you with something that they want to distract you from, to keep you thinking everything's a distraction from that. They may still have other political entities or enemies they want to put on that quote-unquote list. Now let's think in terms of common sense, folks. I'm talking to the left-wing voters, right-wing voters, talking to you both. I don't vote. In the year of all of us, in 2020, every government in the world, every government ruler in the world, I didn't say leader because leaders teach, rulers rule through fear. Every government ruler in the world on planet Earth worked in tandem with one another to lock us down and put diapers on our fucking faces. So to my right-wing people, the small amount of people that are in the left-wing political party of the United States did not lock the entire earth down. Okay? My left-wing people, the small amount of people that are in the right-wing political party are not responsible for every bit of hate, injustice, crime, or the lockdown that happened on planet Earth 5 years ago. So when are you going to start looking at the overlaps and unite? I'm looking at these different things that I see, and I see people from other countries begging United States citizens to unite. They're begging us to unite. Why aren't we? Because of our egos? Because we can't admit we were wrong? We can't admit that our side is just as bad as the other side? If you ask me what my political affiliation is, and you're somebody who doesn't know nothing about volunteerism or real spirituality, you're a hardcore, born-again, Bible-thumping, which is Bible's a lie, Christian, or some left-wing woke automaton, I will have to actually say I'm a libertarian that kind of leans right, just to be able to wrap your mind around what real freedom is a state of anarchism. No rulers, no servants, no masters, no slaves. Living in harmony with nature, under God's natural law, and not doing unto other human beings that which we don't want done unto us. And what we are in now is a state of slavery. Jesus and Muhammad both were speaking the truth. They were trying to teach a primitive people the truth and nature of humanity. And look how they were persecuted. Look how Jesus was persecuted. And Christians made a religion out of the teachings of Jesus, out of the Christ, out of the Christos, the Christ consciousness. Jesus was trying to teach you how to look within for all of us to have that. But Jesus wasn't lying. He is the Son of God. Every single person listening to this is a son or daughter of God. God's not some bearded guy in the desert sky. To the evangelical right, who so staunchly support Israel and the genocide that's happening over there. That's what it is. It's a genocide. Genocide. You belong to what's called a monotheistic religion, which isn't really a monotheistic religion, to be honest with you. There's a lot of pagans that belong to polytheistic religions. There's many gods. Well, Jewish people belong to what's called a henotheistic religion, meaning they picked their god. Jesus is swimming in shit to them as far as they're concerned, but you're standing behind them? I don't care who gets mad at me. If you don't understand the gist of what I'm saying and the totality of what I'm saying, and you want to pick out one thing to cherry pick and fight with me about, I will block you. I'm not going to do it. I'm trying to speak out to the people who have an eye to see or an ear to hear the actual truth. You're being bamboozled and fooled. Politics will never be the answer to the human slavery we've dealt with for thousands of years. Politics is the smoke and mirrors to make you feel like you have a decision or a choice in the matter. Both sides do the exact same thing, folks. They murder, steal, and make you fight and kill one another. And we've got people all over this planet. I see them on threads everywhere, on video comments, begging America to unite. Because if America did indeed unite, do you think they'd be able to institute a one-world government of slavery that they want to do? But remember, right wing, the most important thing is to get your pound of flesh back for what happened in 2020, for what the Democrats did to us in 2020. They locked the entire earth down in 2020. Get your fucking pound of flesh back. You know, and it's good that you have, that they have you on their side as they go into smart cities, future smart cities, I'm sorry. They're going to go into smart cities, with bad crime rates. Bad crime rates. I misspoke. cities with bad crime rates, and there could be future smart cities, to restore order because of the bad crime. And now you got, a bunch of violence going on. Anyone ever see Blue's Clues? Man, those left-wing guys are dumb, aren't they? Talking to right-wing now. They're dumb, aren't they, left-wing? Or right-wing. Those left-wing guys are really dumb. They left a clue on a bullet. Was that an entire bullet, or was that just a shell? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm joking, of course I know. But they left a note on that bullet. You know what it said? They wanted to make sure that even the dumbest security guard that found that bullet would know exactly who it belonged to, because it actually said anti-ice on it. And thank God for that clue. Anti-ice. Nothing poetic. Nothing deep. Anti-ice. I don't want to see anyone be murdered or killed. But just remember, when you get your pound of flesh back, and the left's back in office, and they start wanting to get their pound of flesh back, and they start going door to door to take guns, this is all part of their plan. It'll even seem like, wow, the left planned it. It seems like they even planned this. Think? You don't think it's both working together in tandem to complement each other to get you divided? Other people in other countries can see it because they live under different circumstances than we do. We got our blinders on in this country, and we're hoping everything will just be okay. It's not okay. And I got news for you. Uniting's going to be pretty tough with the entrenched, identity politics, go sports team, egoic connections that people have to their political parties and the fucking clown show going on TV. Because our political people are in on it. They got disclosure coming up. They're finally telling the truth. These people will only tell the truth when it benefits them. When they can use it to some kind of evil. Evil people will do evil until they're stopped from doing it. And the challenge for us on this planet, this Soul Garden prison planet that is a testing ground, our challenge is to rise from that darkness and rise from this condition of human slavery and stand up and speak the truth. Even if your voice shakes. And in the last 5 years, my voice has shook more than one time. I've spoken my fucking truth. Now speak yours. Quit voting, quit othering, and quit dehumanizing people who have been victimized by the same people that have victimized you. Which brings me to something else. That's a whole other topic, and it's more on I've been talking more macrocosm, but on a more microcosm level in our own lives. Nobody who's injured, hurt, and unhealed, who hasn't done shadow work, is going to be able to do anything other than hurt other people in their life. Hurt people hurt other people. So you have a responsibility to heal. And it's a garden that you have to go back and weed. Trust me, I've had to go back and weed it. I had somebody I trained to be a Jedi Knight, and he turned into a Sith Lord and beat women and stalked them. And he's being protected by other women. Drunk, alcoholic, piece of shit. He hasn't healed. And he's hurting other people. I don't care what people put into their body. Have at it. But when you're hurting other people, the people around them have a responsibility to not coddle them. If you coddle them and you become their victim, that's your fault. So what are you doing by voting? What are you doing by keeping your TVs on and staying mad and angry at the nonsense going on? Instead of telling people, we're not having this. Tell the rulers, we're not having this. Order followers, don't follow immoral orders. Quit letting them trick you and confuse you. Use your brains. I know why you took the oath. The same reason why I took the oath and worked in law enforcement for 27 years, 5 years in a closed maximum security prison, over 20 years as a cop for various jurisdictions, most of it part-time, but a lot of it full-time, and one of them for a government agency. I've watched the lies up close. They do whatever the fuck they want. Don't get up there and try to speak their legalese, and don't get up there and try to speak their political language and enter their arena and be made a fool. Speak plain truth. And get angry. We have to remember where we came from and remember who we are so we could become what we're supposed to be, which is a service to others and a service to humanity. America, we have to unite. As they said in the Avengers movie, Avengers Assemble. America, assemble. Otherwise, they're going to keep fooling you and getting the reactions out of you because they're playing to your unhealed wounds. They're playing to your ego. They're playing to your own prejudice from your unhealed wounds. They know human psychology better than anyone alive. And even people like me who know it, it could still be used on us. Trust me, it was used on me. I'm still leery of it. I respect its power. And if all you're going to do is turn on the news and allow yourself to get angry and you can't change your mind based on new information, you're not respecting its power. See, here's a problem that I have. I had somebody nitpick at me with something, with one thing, as I was talking about the genocide, the genocide. Because it kept occurring to me. They keep talking about hostages that Hamas has. Where the fuck are the hostages at when you're blowing the whole place to shit? For that matter, where's Hamas at? I haven't seen them since October 7th, 2008. And when I did see them, they looked really matching in their uniforms. Pretty new uniforms, expensive. They're all had the same uniforms in the same place with the same rifles, expensive rifles in the same place. Looked like a well-funded army to me. I've never seen terrorists look like that. Don't tell me I ain't stupid. This was a false flag. Ask yourself the bigger question. Start researching. Everybody wants to parrot what they hear on TV. Semitic has to do with languages spoken in the area. It has nothing to do with ethnicity. It has everything to do with the languages spoke, Hebrew and Arabic and Aramaic. That's Semitic. Okay, I don't know how I can put this to you guys. Are you aware, anyone listening, that any human being alive is capable of learning any language? This doesn't have nothing to do with language. It has everything to do with the bloodlines of the original Semitic-speaking people of that region. I've done podcasts where I've read the Belfort Accords, 1917, I believe, where a Rothschild wrote a 69 or 68 word letter to the English royalty, wanting to establish a home for converts to the faith of Judaism in the Promised Land. Then, within 2 decades, kind of sounds familiar from 9/11 to around now, within 2 decades, there's a war going on, and 18 million Jews lost their lives. Hebrew Jews, Semitic bloodline, Hebrew Jews, lost their lives. 5 to 6 million of which were, for their safety, put on trains and taken to concentration camps and marched into ovens. To those German soldiers who actually just let people go, they had a little bit of humanity in them. That did exist. But now you've got Israel, the whole place, Palestine. If you look at the entirety of the area known as Palestine, Even Gaza right now, it's 25 miles long by about 5 miles wide. It's a small swath of land. And they've pushed them back to only about 5 miles and created hell. They've created hell. It was foretold the world would turn against Israel. You think? This isn't biblical prophecy. This is extraterrestrial nonsense. The people that messed with our genomes to begin with, making happen what they said was going to happen. Because God, with a capital G, God the Most High, did not create us for death and murder. We were created for life, for love, for expansion, through knowledge, through compassion. And sometimes kindness isn't always nice. Trust me, I've had some real kindness given to me in the last couple of years, and it didn't feel kind at the time. But I know it was, despite my bad days. So when I think to what's currently happening over there, and to know the history of the Semitic people and how the Hebrew Semitic Jews, 19 million of them murdered during World War II, it pretty much emptied out the area currently known as Israel. It made a lot of room for the Zionist movement. It made room for people who weren't of original bloodlines from that area to go there. Now, when you stick up for and try to be a human fucking being and say murdering Semitic Palestinians is wrong, they call you an anti-Semite. How the hell is anyone an anti-Semite when it's Semites over there being murdered? Bigger question. Forget the foolery that they have you under. Forget the dark spell you're under. What is it about the Semitic bloodlines they want gone? The Hebrew Jews were Semitic. So are the Palestinians. The largest population of Hebrew Jews still left in the world outside of Israel is, from what I understand, Iran. You guys got to start doing some simple dot connecting, man. It takes a little research. Do it with love, kindness. Don't do it with hate, anger. Don't research to be right. Research to find out the truth. This is why I won't debate people. That's another thing with my post Malone Ted Bundy, Sith Lord. He always wants to debate shit and be right. I don't debate nitwits. See, when you debate somebody, you're praised for winning a debate. Hey, the shit ain't true, but he won the debate. I don't talk and debate to win a debate. I communicate for discernment, which is what we need to start doing. Debating is done by parasites in politics who are lunatics, and all ticks are parasites. I don't want to debate. I want to have a conversation for truth discernment. And the truth of the matter is all the governments of the world worked together 5 years ago. I will go back to that every fucking time I talk for the rest of my existence. And 5 years later, we're at a world war, but yet they all work together to lock humanity down. No one has any questions. It was just one of our political parties that locked the entire planet Earth down. Are you guys fucking retarded? People are dying and being murdered. And regardless if the assassination of Charlie Kirk is legitimate, he was legitimately murdered, or it's AI, because there's some AI things. The thing on his shirt, the F on his shirt will change sides, the ring change sides. AI is pretty famous for not being able to do hands and feet very well. So the validity of him being alive or not alive, the way his wife's acted has not really led me to believe he's actually gone, but I still was able to change my mind that he might be actually gone. But it was still planned. And they've got such a dark spell over you that half the people in this world are partaking in crisis acting, knowing the evil they're doing, or they're actually applauding and laughing at another human being's murder. Do you know what type of energy and karma that puts out into the ether, that puts out into the collective? Do you know what that's going to bring back to us here in humanity? If all we've ever allowed is slavery and murder, all we're ever going to get is slavery and murder. And to all my fellow Americans, you can't rely on political discourse and politics to unite us when they're the ones working together at somebody's command to divide us, and they're doing an expert fucking job of it. And it takes somebody like me and other people like me who believe in voluntarism, who believe in humanity, to be an outsider who doesn't vote and look in and say, hey, you're both being tricked, you're being bamboozled, you're being fooled. And you know what? It's okay. Because I was too. I thought I was going to be protecting and serving something greater than myself. Well, you know what? I was. But it wasn't good. So now I'm speaking out because my oath to protect and serve does not have an expiration date, and I don't give a fuck about your politics. The oath that most cops take, the oath that most military people take, here in America anyway, in the America I grew up in, the land of the free and the home of the, wait for it, brave, with courage, love, under courage. We took that oath to protect and serve those who couldn't protect and fight for themselves. And we let it get turned into, let's make revenue for the city and write tickets. Let's not enforce these laws against these people, but let's enforce these laws against those people. You're supposed to have what they call in police work is state-given discretion. I've seen all discretion get removed from law enforcement. You can't mindlessly follow orders and be keeping your oath. If you took the oath to protect and serve, not some piece of paper that's got some rights scribbled on it that I don't need. I'm sorry, I wasn't alive back when the Constitution was signed. I'm not part of that contract. I know my birthright is freedom. The pursuit to life, liberty, and happiness and freedom are all of our birthrights. I don't need some old dude scribbling it down on a piece of paper and handing it to me and saying, here's your rights, because I scribbled them down and said they're your rights. We didn't swear an oath to that. We swore an oath to humanity, to protect and serve. My Marines, Semper Fi, always faithful to God, country, and Corps. Faithful to each other. Country, America, the land of the free, the home of the brave. Humanity. Because God with a capital G wants you to be faithful to humanity, not to some fucking politician who only cares about themselves. And I'm not going to hold back my rhetoric. I started out nice. I'm not going to be, constantly crazy mean either. It's not necessary. And I don't have to use, profanity every other sentence. I'd rather not. But we have to start pulling it together. Quit trying to look smart. Let your truthful emotions out and speak plainly to those in power that you aren't having this anymore. Turn off the TV. Don't play their game. All right? If you're in team sports and you're like, go team, go team, go team, take your ball and go home and let that team play with themselves. Let me take a sip of my coffee. This is turning into a rant, and I don't mean to be emotionally vomiting all over any audience listening. But when I see such obvious lies, And I see so many people mind controlled. I see the right wing gleefully. I even was told by one of them, who's an order follower. I'm not going to say who or for what agency, wants to get their pound of flesh back for what happened in 2020. Does anyone really think that the Democratic Party of the United States has enough power to make the whole earth lockdown? Come on, man. Seriously. All the contradictions written in the Bible, not the Old Testament. The Old Testament is complete trash, lies. But even the New Testament has all these contradictions in it. How to treat a slave. Do you think Jesus condones slavery? Some of the nonsense written in the book of Romans. By the fucking Romans. It's actually a clue. There's another Blues Clue for you. Okay? So the bullet that we had, it actually had anti-ice on it. Thank God it had anti-ice. Otherwise, we wouldn't know that they were anti-ice. They think you're dumb. They're writing anti-ice on a bullet. You see that? They're anti-ice. It says it, anti-ice. There's nothing more poetic to say when you're ready to lose your life for a supposed cause. And I'm not calling for violence either. Violence is not the answer. It's going to beget more violence. It's what they want. They want us to surrender to violence, which is what bothers me about the right wing, is what I was getting at before. They seem like they're surrendering to violence. Right wing, you guys consider yourself right wing and truthers. And smart cities are bad. 15-minute cities bad because they take away our freedom. We don't want that. Yet all the Democratic towns that they're currently going into to, restore order and fight crime are all future smart cities. I don't know. I really want to pray for this world. I really want to pray for this world. The world needs compassion. The world needs love. Love under will. Love under patience. Love under courage. I've been afraid my whole life. That's my secret. That's my secret. In the first Avengers movie, at the end of the movie, when Captain America told Hulk, hey, now would be a pretty good time to get mad, wouldn't it? And Banner turned around and said, that's my secret. I'm always angry. Well, that's my secret. I'm always scared. I'm always afraid, I should say. My secret. Fear is always present. But guess what's present right along with it? Courage. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the presence of fear. And forging ahead anyway. Doing what you're supposed to do anyway. I went Bigfooting last week. I'll get off of politics. I went Bigfooting last week in a well-known area that has a lot of Bigfoot activity. And there's been way more Bigfoot activity lately than ever recorded before. They know something's up. And if you try to say that's BS, but extraterrestrials are now being disclosures happening, and you believe in the bearded invisible guy in the desert sky, but you don't think Bigfoot exists, I don't know what to tell you, but I was in a valley called Dog's Run. It's a wooded area, a grove, big wooded grove with a river running through it. And last year I went there and I had a full moon. It was beautiful. I had some things I'll talk about that I consider to be metaphysical or, not quite natural happen last year. But this year, they threw stuff at my vehicle. One ran by my vehicle. I got out. And that was my training that made me get out because as a cop, I never wanted to be stuck in my vehicle. I would always get out to take cover. You get out, you just train to not stay in it unless you're leaving the area. So I got out and it was gone. No sound, left no marks. It was amazing. But I stayed in that area that night to a time in the morning to the sunrise because I swore to myself that I would, and I did it for love, for the love of somebody. I would have rather have left, to be honest with you. It was an amazing encounter. There were two of them. And they're known as they call them the Yahoo Yetis, or the Yahoo Bigfoots. At first, when they were calling to me, it was like a deep, like a big owl or something. It sounded like an owl. It was like, Yahoo, hoo, hoo. Like, Yahoo, hoo, hoo, hoo. But way cooler sounding than that. It was deep, but yet high. It's hard to explain. It was almost etheric. I don't think it was voice-to-skull technology. I'm not that important of a guy. I don't think they're experimenting on me. They were in that area, and they did throw. Yeah, they hit my car. They threw walnuts at my car. Very dark that night. I was by myself. Now it's a campground. Up, if you go up top and go over a little bit, there's a campground. There were still some campers there and stuff like that, but you're down by yourself when you're doing this. It was pretty frightening, actually, to be honest with you. But I felt like I needed to stay. Knowledge I had going for me is the Yahoo Yetis, Yahoo Bigfoots, are actually, if you look them up, are different from any other species of Bigfoot, because I also had a Bigfoot encounter in the Allegheny Mountains back in 1990, what was it, 95? Yeah, it was 95. That was totally different. When this thing ran around my car, I felt the ground shaking. Things hit the car. Walnuts hit the car. Or picking walnuts up and throwing them at the car. They wanted me out of there. So I drove up top for a minute, and then I came back down. I don't know, when it got closer to morning and my fire went out and everything got dark in the encampment, I finally heard the first one I had heard, because there was two of them. And I got the distinct feeling when I first was hearing them and they were talking to each other. One was smaller and a little bit further behind the first one. Okay? So the first one did its thing 5 times, like, Yahoo, hoo, hoo, hoo. And then the second one would go, Yahoo, hoo, like it was answering it. These ones are habituated to human beings. So I had that going for me. They've never been known to hurt anybody. But you're dealing with something that's kind of mythical, actually. And scary. So there was a level of excitement and a level of fear. And I had to actually have the courage to stay there. And I'm not bragging about having that courage. See, here's the thing. I've been involved in a lot of critical incidents, and I've always had the courage to rise to whatever occasion it was. I have this saying as a trainer, we never rise to the occasion. We fall to the level of our training. So every time my mind has ever gone blank under stress, I've ended up doing the right thing, mostly because of training, but because of courage as well. Because it's there. I hope the day never comes where my courage fails me, but if I stood here and told you that it never will, I would tell you never listen to me again. Because your courage can fail you at any time. It takes conscious resolve and effort to keep it from failing. And moving forward on this planet, we're going to have discernment. And it takes courage to have hard conversations. It takes courage to admit you're wrong. It takes courage to admit you were wrong about something, you were fooled and bamboozled. See, the United States of America are the divided states of America right now, and people all over the world are begging us to unite. Because we are and were the light of the world. And with a united America, with the United States, they can't institute a one-world government and a whole worldwide slavery for when the archons come back. They're giving you disclosure for a reason, folks. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm a conspiracy analyst, and sometimes I'm wrong. That's okay. When I'm wrong, I'll say I was wrong. It's not that big of a deal. But I'm not going to sit with anyone and debate them because I want to win a debate and therefore be right. I want to talk with somebody for discernment. I'm not the type of person to quote you in a screen capture and send it to you to try to prove a fucking point. Discernment is what's needed. See, the problem that I see with the freedom community, I'm not talking about the right wing, I'm not talking about the freedom community itself, I'm talking about anyone who considers themselves a truther in the freedom community. You are the good guys. We all are. And we get stressed at what we're seeing, and we end up fighting with each other. Because we're ineffective at fighting the bad guys. Well, the bad guys know they're bad, and there's different factions of bad guys. Okay? And the bad guys are working really good together so they get their main goal met, our enslavement. Then they could fight it out at the end. We need to assemble. We need to unite. I hope you guys can hear this. I'm going to play something.
Keep us in fear to manipulate us. They want us ignorant so we can injure themselves. Will make us murder one another so they don't have to do it themselves. Only you can break their mind control. I really the tone against the only belief system that allows you to accept their lies in the first place. The time has come for us to remember our divinity, who we really are, to return to what we're meant to be, service to others, to humanity, to return to nature, and reclaim our birthright, that which is freedom. The truth will sound belligerent because it is in direct opposition to lies. So we get angry because anger is sacred. Together we can rise. Rise from this darkness. Humanity, assemble.
Humanity, assemble. America, assemble. I hope that was heard. I'll find out if I did it right. We need to assemble. Anyway, till next week, man. Nothing but love. Hopefully I won't be as ranty next week. But if you like this and you hear this, make it go viral. Share it. We need to wake up this fucking country. We need to wake up the people, and we need to unite. Let's be seen within creation for having done the right thing, regardless of the consequences. And I'm not calling for violence. Violence isn't the answer. Education is the answer. Nothing but love, man. Stay safe. Peace.
Listening to Revolution Radio.
To Revolution Radio, where truth breaks the spell and information never sleeps. Tune into Revolution Radio, where truth breaks the spell and information never sleeps. Truth breaks the spell and information never sleeps. Never sleeps. Never sleeps. Tune into Revolution Radio, where truth breaks the spell and information never sleeps.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
Ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
download it to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
and I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.